Good evening, welcome back to Monday Night Skippys, and it's round number 12 here of the season, the final round, and 4 drivers can win this one tonight. It is going to be a very tight run to the finish, and it's going to be likely that the winner of the race will take home the championship tonight. This is Brands Hatch, and what a better place we could think of to finish it. I don't think I could find anywhere better, to be honest, leaders. This is definitely one of the biggest circuits for this series. I mean, it being a British club series, to finish at the former home of the British Grand Prix, it just feels right.
Yeah, everyone knows of this track and everyone knows it as one of the homes of British racing, and like you said, 4 cars having the chance of winning the championship this year going into the last round, and that's the most I think we've had since I started commentating this series, so anything can happen and the championship is still very wide open.
It certainly is, and well, the qualifying is underway at the moment, and they've got 20 minutes, or they've had 20 minutes I should say, of time to actually qualify. And right now Fremantle is on top with Fraser, Ward, Daniels, Edwards in the top 5. Jack Hobbs, who's down in 4th in points, who was leading this championship to the last round, down in 9th place. So a lot can go on, but a lot can still change, and with Tom Ward finding pace again, Linus, this could push him closer to the front. This could be a spanner in the works to those running for the finish.
Yeah, he's currently 3rd, as I say that, he drops actually down to 4th in qualifying, but he really wants to go and win this race, and while the other 3 all have to be very careful not to get in an incident to be there at the end, he's got absolutely nothing to lose, so he can just launch it right at him to do everything that he can to win this race.
Absolutely can indeed, and we'll look at those points for a moment, because Bill Fraser on top here with 286 points as of last round. Simon Edwards 277, Fremantle has 264, Jack Hobbs on 258. Hobbs is an outside chance, but he is still in the running for this depending on what happens. Mathematically he could still win. So we're all going to be running down now to the final run of this and the actual final run through the race. We have tonight 14 laps around the full Grand Prix circuit, so thank you for joining us if you are tuning in today. Of course, don't forget, this is brought to you by the Campaign Against Living Miserably. CALM is an award-winning charity dedicated to preventing male suicide, which is the single biggest, that's English, I promise, the single biggest killer of men under the age of 45 in the United Kingdom. Information in our description, check them out, they're a very important cause. Don't forget, we also bring these beautiful camera angles on the track to you, thanks to Estefan Ballo and his track pack for gourmets. Check it out if you want to get involved in iRacing broadcasting or just make your angles look fantastic. Speaking of great angles, Linus, this circuit has some of the most memorable corners in racing history.
It really does, and well, I think it's going to be memorable for a lot of drivers after this as well, and especially for whoever wins, as I don't think whoever wins the championship and the race is going to get it easy. So a lot of interesting sections on this track, and especially coming up into turn 2 up the hill, where we usually see a lot of people going off, or down the hill through turn 1 actually as well.
Absolutely right, and well, looking at these positions in terms of timing, right now the hot seat is a 37.291 from Antonides out front. We'll look at our 1 second bracket, so we're looking for a 38.2. And that comes surprisingly quickly here, Linus. We're looking realistically at about 14th place. Only 14 drivers in that 1 second bracket. So this track, a lot of skill involved, a lot of corners, and a lot of varying corners in terms of how you have to attack these to make it through the lap. It's not a very simple circuit.
It definitely isn't. There's a lot of tricky corners, and if you get one turn just slightly wrong, you can actually go very wide and lose quite a lot of time. So you're going to have to get it every single turn right if you want to get a good lap around here, and staying on top of your game is going to be crucial.
As it always is in motorsport as well, staying on top of the game at the moment. Antonides is in with a chance, so is Edwards and Fraser. In fact, they're your top 3 qualifying. Bill Fraser was going out for another lap and he's messed this one up, so unfortunately this will not be his lap, but he should have time to get one more in. He has a minute to get back to the line, so he has one last chance to put this on pole tonight. And well, Linus, he's only about 29 hundredths off doing that.
Yeah, if he can just get one quick lap in here, he could be able to do it. But it looks like he's actually got a little bit of damage to his front wing, and he's not got a car. Well, he's actually got 1 car in front of him, but that damage I think is going to stop him and the car in front pulls off, so he's not going to have any draft around his lap. So Bill Fraser is not getting the pole position today.
No, the car in front, though, I think wasn't going fast enough to even help him if it stayed in the way. But no, he's going to abandon that lap and pull off the track. So Fraser abandons his chance. Looks like Antonides will be one of the few within a shot of doing this. But we'll keep an eye on Edwards, actually, because he is in with a shout here. Had a good draft there throughout most of this lap. And as he comes to the final corner, we'll see what he can do. Car ahead of him, which could provide a little snippet of draft on the run to the start-finish line. Maybe a bit far away, though. We'll see what Edwards gets as he comes across the line. And will this be an improvement?
Nope.
It was not. No. And the checkered flag is out, so he is done with this one. So in a few moments' time... Oh, Edwards has actually managed to get a lap out of this, so Edwards does have a chance. I thought he crossed the line when the flag came out, but I think he just missed it, Linus, so he has one final shot at a car to tow him, so we'll have to see how this one goes.
He'll be the second to last car to get a time, as he's got Mark Hesling behind him as well, but this is his last shot. He's got to improve his best time by over 2.5 tenths, but with the draft he's got from Neil A. Jackson in front of him, it might just be enough.
It could be, and this is a perfect place to have that draft. He's within draft range, coming down Pilgrim's Drop, which is one of the longest straights here apart from the front stretch, and if Jackson can stay in front of him well enough, he might have a chance of this. This will be interesting to see how this plays out. Of course, Jackson hasn't been that fast, so the fact he's staying ahead, I can't quite calculate the difference there in how this one will play out with a driver who isn't in the top group managing to stay ahead of a driver running for the pole lap.
Oh, he cut that corner a bit much, I think.
He did, but I think he's good with that one, actually. I think he might be okay still. 2 more corners. I think he might be too close now to use this draft. It might actually hurt him at this point. So I'll have to see what happens, but he stays close enough, and this might give him just enough to slingshot through the final corner. In fact, it should. This could be the pole lap, I think. I have a feeling. As he comes up behind him, he's going to move to the inside to use that draft and slingshot through. Perfect timing for it. What does he get?
No, improvement by about 0.5 tenth.
Yeah, 0.5 tenth. Not enough, though, to make a difference. We'll go to your starting grid. Starting on pole tonight, we have got Antonides there in the top position, a 1 minute 37.291. Bill Fraser and Simon Edwards mix up your top 3 with Clark Williams and Tom Ward in the top 5. Ward slipping down in the last few laps. After that, it's Ben Daniels, Anthony Catt, Reece Saunders in 8th place with Jack Hobbs and Robert Plumley in 10th place. Outside that, Paul Thurston, Jonathan Sheen, Nicholas Vaughan Roberts in 14th with Rob Green in 15th, Darrell Taylor, Simon Maltby, Tom Barry, Dave Kirkman and Jake Ridlington in 20th. Rest of those results up on your screen, Linus, with the big prize on the line here and 4 drivers that could win it. 3 that really have a chance of doing this physically rather than mathematically in the terms of Hobbs' case. Who's your pick?
Well, seeing as they're all starting at the front 1, 2, 3, I don't know actually. Bill Fraser has been doing pretty well, and he's got 5 wins this season, so I'm gonna go with Simon Edwards. For some reason.
That's quite an interesting pick, because you just tally up reasons why Bill Fraser will likely win and then go with somebody else. So yeah. I'm not going to be coming to you for technical analysis from this point forwards, because I can't understand where you're coming from with this. But either way,
I don't know.
It's a good pick. It is a good pick. Edwards has had some strong runs and he can come through when he needs to. My question here is, what effect will Tom Ward have on the race? Ward, not in the points fight, but a driver we know can win races, can get up and battle. What part will he play in today's story?
Well,
have a look at the weather actually there, Linus, of course, as up on the screen. It's a bit warm. The track temperature is about 70 Fahrenheit, 79 on the track. Clear skies will have a big effect on grip, of course. Humidity is about 50%, wind 9 miles an hour from the east. That will likely affect this one today, but as we get ready to go green here today for the final time this season, the battle is on for a championship, and, well, the stakes couldn't be higher in this series. Love it when these battles come down to the final round rather than it being pre-decided as it has been on so many occasions. Today, ladies and gentlemen, you will get to see a true race with the biggest stakes on the line. The championship of the series. A few moments left to go and the engines start to rev now as the grid is filled with cars. 44 entrants today and the green flag will drop on all 44 of them. Big start by Antonides. A lot of movement at the front already as Clark Williams gets overlapped by for He-Man tonight, by Tom Ward, I should say. Top 3 single file out as your real contenders in this championship will have a chance at it. Clark Williams gets clear there of Ward for a moment before Ward comes back up the inside. Edwards finally passed there. Antonides struggling to hold on to this lead here against a hard charging Scotsman. Simon Edwards just behind him as we had a little bit of contact back there in the Druids corner. Field filters through largely unscathed. Up towards the front though, coming now up through Surtees. That long run down Pilgrim's drop towards the bottom end of this circuit, Linus, and now the conga line is pushing hard, but already Fraser about to make a move.
Yeah, they're pretty much single file throughout the entire field. A couple of places where they're side by side, but other than that is a straight line of Fraser staying behind here. He's really close though to Antonides, but he's not making a move just yet. He might wait to the front straight away, I'm not sure, but he stays on the back, and it's the top 3 that's pulling a little bit of a gap.
Had a bit of an issue there, Linus. What just happened?
Yeah. I think Jake Riddington had some contact and went off the track, but he kept on going, so sideways across the track, no one hit him, so they're all going.
Yeah, we have a car stopped at the circuit there, which we're trying to find out who that was at the moment in time. A lot of cars on track we're keeping an eye on, but a bit of 3 wide action further back here. Chris Keeble.
Oh, Fraser messed up the last turn and he's dropping through the field.
He has indeed. Bill Fraser now dropping back towards about 4th place here as Williams comes through too. Kirkman was the car that spun. We've got him going down the running order there. If Kirkman in that 35 machine. He's managing to keep himself going though, undamaged, thankfully for him. Now Tom Ward sees himself in the 3rd place here, Linus, and that's a big one for him because he could really contend for a win just for his own glory. And that of course leaves championship contenders fighting for 2nd place.
Yeah, and Bill Fraser dropped another position down into 6th, so he's got his work cut out for him. I think my commentator's curse is struck early here for him, so apologies for that. But Tom Ward right on the back of Edwards now going down the hill, and it looks like he might try to make a move here, but he's not got the benefit of the draft as Edwards got the draft from Antonides as well, so he's going to stay behind for now.
See, the TV cameras can often lie and suggest a good run down Pilgrim's drop. We can see you making a pass into the next corner, but we rarely see passes down at the bottom of that straight there, Linus, because it's just such a quick run despite looking long. The car's carrying so much speed that it's almost impossible and unwise to make a move there, as the first corner is usually our biggest passing opportunity here with our longest straight. Top 6-7 cars making it through in a nice long conga line there, all the way back to Hobbs towards the rear of this train. Doing what he can to stay involved. He is there in 8th place, so he's still involved in this depending on what happens. And we're looking at Paul Thurston at the moment. He is currently running in the 11th spot. You can see him right there just behind Plumley and co. Reece Saunders and Plumley just up ahead of him. Side by side they're ahead of them as they come through one, and well, that 14 car gets filtered wide. Reece Saunders dropping back. Thurston will make a move here on him. Up the inside for Druids. Saunders keeps a good wide outside line there. Holds that spot. We'll have the inside for Graham Hill. Gets it done. Holds his position. Thurston a good old dogfight here as he runs wide there. Saunders actually running a little bit wider than he'd naturally want to, but holds the spot. Up through Surtees now in his 2nd pack. Really getting a good fight going. Just behind Thurston there. Vaughan Roberts showing a nose as they run up towards the drop into Pilgrims. Could Vaughan Roberts go for a move, a risky move here? He has the draft early. Goes to the outside there. Cut off by Thurston. Thurston holds his spot. Almost as expected, actually, as a little bit further up. Bill Fraser trying to fight back now. Going after Ben Daniels. As the order hasn't changed. Antonides, Edwards, Ward, Williams, Daniels, Fraser, your top 6. And things looking fairly static as everyone just tries to find the lay of the land tonight.
Yeah, Ward has been looking a couple of times on Edwards, but he can't really get that run and get up the inside of him. So, so far they're all just driving in a long line here. The first like 8 cars, 9 even, and it's anyone's race at the moment. But Antonides is obviously in the best position, being in the lead, and see if Edwards can make a move. Sorry, Ward can make a move on Edwards here down into turn 1, but he's going to drop back and just stay in line for now.
Certainly does, and at the moment, Edwards fighting off Tom Ward, who's looking for him. Thurston, we're back on board with him, as he's in a good scruff. Yeah, running down to 1 here at the moment. Replay showing there with Thurston, as that was a bit of a hairy moment there. Car heads off into the grass as things get a little busier than they'd like. Up front of him there, you can see Rhys Saunders just getting wide again, getting past on the inside. That'll be Matt Cox. Vaughan Roberts up ahead off Thurston there, you can see. Big concertina of cars heading up towards Pilgrims now as Vaughan Roberts makes a look at Cox. Saunders leading this train. Thurston second to last in this 5-car group. Cox looks to the inside. Not going to really have an opportunity as there's not really a 2-car run through that section. Wide though goes Cox. It costs him some time. Vaughan Roberts up the inside to Hawthorne. And through there goes Green as well. Roberts has been very, very aggressive so far. Vaughan Roberts vying for position here desperately. Oh, contact there with Thurston and Green, I think that is. Rob Green, yes it is. That was coming up into the kink there. And the side-by-side action replay there for you as... Oh, Green, I think, kind of comes across. Well, no, both of them come together. Thurston comes in, Green comes out, and unfortunately contact made there, leaving them both in the kitty litter. Unfortunate end to both their races, or at least their chances of good results in this race. Bill Fraser goes wide in 1 though. Bill Fraser losing some time there. Gets passed up the inside here by the likes of Plumley and Sheen, who just completely take advantage of the door left wide open by the Scotsman. Not ideal situation at all for him there. Showed a replay what happened to Bill Fraser there. He just pushed widely in that corner. And pushing wide in 1 is a death sentence.
Yeah, he's just trying too hard. He's dropped all the way down to 7th and he's losing ground to the cars in front of him. So just pushing too hard, trying to gain back some time, pushing a little bit wide, and that's going to cost you a ton of time. Thankfully for him, he managed to keep ahead of the cars behind him, but the gap to the cars in front of him now is wide open. As we see Jack Hobbs and Clark Williams going side by side, and Williams is going to take 5th spot away from him.
Well, Williams defends 5th spot there because he was ahead of Hobbs actually. Hobbs coming up from 9th, trying to get involved in that battle. Had actually gotten past Clark Williams, but Clark Williams comes back and actually regains his 5th spot. It's actually where he's been running for a large portion of this race. Of course, after Tom Ward got past him, essentially on corner 2, as wide he goes. Oh, big error there by Clark Williams into that penultimate corner. Just pushes wide in the corner, back end steps out, and he has to go out onto the grass and gravel. That will cost him not 1 but 2 positions on the racetrack, dropping him back just there ahead of Robert Plumley, down in 9th place. Up towards the sharp end though, things haven't really changed other than Ben Daniels slowly working his way forwards. That's the top 8 there on the bottom of your screen, as you can see at the moment in terms of their positioning. Antonides, Edwards, Ward, Daniels, Hobbs, Fraser, Catt and Williams. Although not long for Williams at the moment, the way he's dropping back in his field. Fraser trying to fight his way back as well, but the time just keeps getting bigger, Linus.
The gap from 4th down to 5th has gotten wide open and is up to about 3 seconds now last time by the line, so Bill Fraser is going to have to rely on some misfortunes for the guys ahead of him if he's going to win this championship.
It is not looking good at all, but it is looking good for Fahim Antonides, of course, as the points will add up differently based on where people have finished, because let's not forget, Bill Fraser still has about 10 points ahead of 2nd place. So he has a chance to still hold this depending on where he finishes. He's 9 points, I should say, ahead of Simon Edwards. And he is a total of about 18 ahead of Antonides. So there is still opportunity depending on where these guys finish. Looking at Rhys Saunders right now. He's been moving forwards. Side by side there with Vaughan Roberts, and Vaughan Roberts has been very aggressive so far, Linus.
Yeah, he's been making his presence felt, and he's not giving up anything for 3 here, and he's making his way through the field now ahead of Saunders, who's trying to get a position back, and he's going to bump draft him out of that corner almost. Moving up next to him, he's going to have the outside around the last turn though, so it's going to be a drag race into turn 1 between Saunders and Vaughan Roberts, but Saunders is going to have the advantage of being on the outside, get a little bit more speed, and actually...
Or not, with the draft.
Oh, here we go, 3 wide.
They tried to go 3 wide, but not quite brave enough to make that happen. There's all contact there. Saunders hits the back corner of Vaughan Roberts and it slows the pair of them down. Costly mistake there. Cox looks for the inside line and will take opportunity where he gets it. Gets alongside the car of Vaughan Roberts there. Won't have the advantage yet for Graham Hill, but a good run alongside him here as, oh, a three-way sandwich there into Graham Hill Bend. I think that's the only time that Graham Hill and three-way have been said in the same sentence, but Cox made it through there and has the line into Surtees as up they come through the hill now. And Rhys Saunders has made it up past Vaughan Roberts, but only just. There's still an overlap.
Roberts gets the run back down the hill and it looks like he's going to get that position right back, but Saunders holds it around the outside, breaks a lot later, and he's going to just clear him around the outside of that corner. Or not.
Using the grass, I think. He manages to... oh, a bit of a tick there behind them there, as I think that was Darrell Taylor, who just got pushed wide by Tom Barry. That was. Coming through
and Saunders goes sideways, contact.
It hits Vaughan Roberts and Barry goes round two. Oh my gosh, that's three cars taken out. A sympathetic crash by Barry, who, to his credit, was sideways
and
before that happened.
Stripes goes straight back onto the track and through traffic.
Extended replay up here for you as they come up into the kink there. You see the mistake from Saunders, and Saunders just drives back out into traffic there at the end of that one. No contact made after the point, but Saunders there and Vaughan Roberts paid the price for both of them being very aggressive, but Tom Barry behind them, innocent victim who just happened to be sideways as well, sympathetically crashed to join them.
Very fortunate to not have a lot more cars involved in that, and unfortunate end for Vaughan Roberts, who had a really good race, and he's really made some great moves moving up through the field.
I'm being given some information, Linus, by the way, from this series' own Benny Simonson, who tells me based on the current point standings, Bill needs to finish 8th or higher to retain the championship. Bill is currently running in 5th place. Jack Hobbs is about a second and a half behind him, and behind him, well, he could run down as low as 8th before he starts to get some bigger gaps. Will, you have a special comment for us?
Yeah, I'm going to make a bit of a reference to the 2010 finale in the Verizon IndyCar Series, or the Eyes on IndyCar Series, and then Dale Franchitti knew that he had to finish inside the top 10 in order to win the championship. But once you get that information, Rachel, it becomes so difficult to maintain position because you're no longer going for the win. You're no longer trying to get a podium. If 5th is all you need to do, it's a lot harder to just stay in P number 5, especially if you're Bill Fraser. It's just been passed by Daniels. He's got a couple of drivers right around him right now. For Bill Fraser, this is far more difficult than one would expect.
You're absolutely right, Will, and knowing you only have to do that much means you don't try as much as perhaps you normally would. You don't feel the pressure you would normally feel as Tom Ward's retired. Tom Ward has retired from the race, so he just gets an extra free spot there as we'll try and work out what happened with Ward, but Ward was ahead of Edwards there. They've all lost Antonides, but Ward just pulls to the inside and everyone catches up to him and he just seems to keep slowing down. I'm not entirely sure what happened to him on lap 9. Didn't hear an engine, didn't see any smoke. Tom Ward has just left his car. Tom Ward retiring there from 2nd place on lap 9. Pulling a bit of a hunt there, I think. He just wasn't happy with it, so off he gets, and no more Tom Ward in this one. Simon Evans up to 2nd place. That promotes Ben Daniels into 3rd. But then again, Ben Daniels is right on the back here of Simon Edwards, so a fight for 2nd and 3rd we can see. Antonides with a 3-second gap out front. Well, winning by a second, winning by 3 seconds isn't going to make a difference here, Linus. He needs Bill Fraser to keep dropping. On board here with Daniels right behind Edwards as they run down. Pilgrims looking for a move, goes to the outside. It can be done, it's just risky. Carries speed, doesn't maintain the overlap he needs as Edwards pulls up and he goes to the inside, tries a crossover, fails it, goes back wide again. Try and pick a lane there. Ben Daniels as the... I'm on replay, it would seem, which happens at least once a season. Coming out to the final corner now, and Bill Fraser right behind them, so the fighting is slowing this group down. This could bring Bill Fraser into a point where he could fight to bring himself up to 2nd here, Linus. And that's a far more achievable goal as we're on board here with Bill Fraser heading into turn 1. Now, let's not forget Bill Fraser made a massive error into 1 a couple of laps ago, which cost him a lot of places. He's in touch with a podium spot here, and I think seeing the podium positions is enough to buoy up any race driver and get them to go after that chance of a podium. And when you're fighting for more ahead of you, rather than fighting, as Will said, to maintain, it brings out a different side in a race car driver. And we could see Bill Fraser actually advance his position here now.
We could. And, well, if he can keep his cool, he's got 11 seconds down to 9th place. So he could basically just drop back here and hold on to the championship. Or he could go for the podium. It'll be interesting to see which one he chooses. But the win is way out the window because Fahim is leading by almost 5 seconds right now. And Daniels is getting slightly closer to Edwards again, but he's not close enough to make a move at this point. And Fraser is just inching closer. So what will he do?
Showing the gap there with Fahim and Edwards in from first to second place.
Fraser is slowing down.
Fraser is, but not a lot though. Bill Fraser still keeping pace. Just being consistent at the moment. I think the fight between Edwards and Daniels, once it kicks off, will bring them back to him, Linus. I think he realises that they are going to tussle for position. The cars behind there are catching up very rapidly. Plumley's gone off, or did go off. He's come back on again. He's kept his position, but Plumley taking a very creative line there. Stays ahead of Clark Williams somehow. Plumley definitely one of the more talented drivers in this series. Always like to keep an eye on what he's doing in his Conducci racing machine as he goes off yet again. Well, it's a good job we were keeping an eye on him when he did it. So we get to see that one live, of course. As Roberts has hit pit road, so that is going to be interesting for him. Not sure why he's come down there, but a number of drivers have had crashes and they've come on in. Yeah, so he's crashed. Not good for him. Replay up there for what happened to Roberts, Linus.
Yeah.
We showed that on the screen
really
there.
Going too fast, hitting the grass and into the barriers.
Linus, sorry, but we're going to look back to the lead here as, well, second place, I should say, as Edwards and Daniels now really are starting to scrap. The gap has come down to about just over a car and a half's length. But they are within a couple of tenths of each other here on the racetrack, and the fight has really kicked off, and both of them running very wide in the corners, taking the widest possible lines they can, trying to use all the room and speed they have. One of these drivers is going to make an error sometime soon. I've just got a feeling at the moment with how hard they're both pushing, how far these cars are running wide. It's not long before we see something take a turn here. Bill Fraser sitting casually back there, watching and waiting. No need to push too hard. He has got cars behind him, but it's Jack Hobbs and Anthony Katz who are both a threat, but he has been consistently faster than them so far this season, Linus. Edwards and Daniels could solve the problem of both of them themselves for Fraser, or they could take those positions, but either way, this is a fairly consistent position to be in. And tonight is doing his best to actually try and win this thing, and he's doing a fantastic job. Linus.
Contact.
Oh, he does.
Daniels
Goes up the inside.
Just threw it up the inside and slid sideways into the side of Edwards and took over second position.
This is going to get aggressive. Aggressive passes tend to lead to aggressive counter passes, so do not expect Edwards to reply fairly soon with something. With just about 2.5 laps left to go on the clock here. 2.5 laps left on this season. We'll have to see how this will unfold for them and how the championship will lie. Right now, Bill Fraser still has it in his grasp, but he has 2.5 laps to finish in his current position to do just that. Mistakes can be very costly here. A consistent side from the young Scotsman we haven't really seen a lot of, racing what he needs to do, not what he wants to do, Linus, as he's now right up in the back here of Edwards and Daniels. I said their fighting would bring them right up on each other, and we've just been made aware that Daniels hasn't actually got a front wing after some of that contact, so he could be down on some turning power.
Yeah, but it seems like he's going pretty faster. He's pulling away from Edwards as well, so maybe that not having a front wing is actually giving him less things to catch here, which is making him faster, as Fraser is defending against Jack Hobbs back here and weaving back and forth across the track. He's not giving up this 4th position easily.
On board there with Fraser, as up the inside goes Hobbs. Hobbs looks for a move. He makes it happen. Yeah, Bill Fraser playing the consistent game here, not wanting to get into a fight with someone who might dive bomb him there and possibly end his chance at the race. Remember, he needs 8th, and there's about 18 seconds now. Or sorry, 13 seconds he has to play with, and just under 2 laps now. and we'll have a repeat championship crowned as we're on board here with Edwards. Looking towards Ben Daniels ahead of him. Behind him he has still got Bill Fraser. No, sorry, it's Jack Hobbs just ahead of him. Maltby and Terry having a good fight at the moment on the track. This is back for the 13th and 12th positions. That's Terry up front, Maltby just behind. Just up ahead of them, that is Tom Barry in the red machine. The cars all doing their best to try and keep this thing in one piece, try and keep it together whilst tussling for positions. I've got to say, Maltby's had a lot better season this time, Linus. He's definitely had an improvement over his average 20th-ish place finishes he's had this season compared to now, where he's running in the top end of that top 15. But right now, eyes going back towards... In fact, we'll go on board here with Jack Hobbs as he's right behind Simon Edwards. Looks to the outside here on the run to the final corner. It's going to be on to the last lap as he taps the back of Edwards' car there. Big run, or has he burned off his speed, being so close in the corner? Daniels has made a break. He's got a big gap there. This could be a secure second place for Ben Daniels. In fact, Antonides is backing off his car. He's running patient, safe lap series, running to second place rather than running away from second place, which is a very safe move as... Oh, Edwards being pressured here by Hobbs. Hobbs desperate for every spot he can get on the racetrack. Won't have an opportunity for it though as he looks again at the back there of Edwards. This is getting very aggressive. Bill Fraser. Now I see why he let him go, because Hobbs is desperately, and as Hobbs is really pushing hard. And Fraser just didn't want to be that one move too desperate.
Now Hobbs can see this podium in his sight, and he's about half a car length away from it now. He's going to do everything he can around the outside of Edwards here, coming down the hill, and they're actually 100% side by side here. Who's going to make it? Hobbs throws it around the outside, and if he can keep it on track, it's going to clear him. Almost, anyway.
He has a good opportunity as they come through Hawthorne, but he gets a little sideways. Hobbs runs wider, but holds the spot and will secure it. And moves Hobbs up into the third spot here. And possibly a problem for Antonides. He's really losing speed, or is he trying to save fuel? Has he just underfueled the car? Coming up towards the final corner. And we're going to have probably a closer finish than I actually expected here. As Fahim does what he can to keep it going. He's actually running very slowly, being caught there by Ben Daniels. Can he make it through? Is it actually a fuel issue? He'll hold on, and Fahim Antonides will come across the line with the win. Ben Daniels in second place. And, of course, Jack Hobbs in third. Edwards in fourth. Cat in fifth. Bill Fraser, in the end, comes back in sixth place. But it's enough. Bill Fraser will be crowned our champion this season, second time in a row for Bill Fraser. His first championship followed immediately by his second, Linus. The Scotsman is on his game.
Yeah, he's had a really good season so far. 5 wins and 9 top 10s, which is pretty much unbeatable. He got really close in the end though. He did what he had to do in the last race, and well-deserved championship for him.
Absolutely was. And we're going to go have a quick look at your results. Coming home with a win for Antonides with Ben Daniels in second place, Jack Hobbs in third, Edwards and Cat making up your top 5, with Bill Fraser, Robert Plumley, Clark Williams, Jonathan Sheen, Matt Cox in 10th place, Adam Terry, Simon Motley, Tom Barry, Darrell Taylor, Simon Askew with Daniel J. Cook in 16th place, Paul Thurston comes back for 17th, Rob Marshall, Chris Morris, Sam Peck. Rest of the results up on your screen. And Linus, it wasn't your pick Edwards for this race, but it wasn't Bill Fraser either.
No, it was Fahim Antonides, and well, he did everything he had to do from third place in the championship, won the race, and well, in the end he got quite close. I don't really know why, but he had a very steady race, and we didn't see him much, but not making any mistakes and just doing what he had to do. Unfortunately for him, it wasn't enough, but he'll come back even stronger next year, hopefully.
Hopefully he will. Well, folks, we're going to pop for a quick commercial break whilst we tally up some points and we wait for our drivers to come in for interview. We'll be back with you in just a moment's time, so stick with us. Post-race interviews coming up right after this. Welcome back to post-race interviews here on RaceSpotTV, coming after Monday Night Skippys season finale this time. And, well, today we have the race winner, but unfortunately, even though he was in contention, he is not the season champion after what was a stellar run. For him, it's going to be second place in the points for you, unfortunately, but first place in the race has to be some consolation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a good race today. I just tried to do my thing, which was focus and do qualifying lap after qualifying lap for the whole race, and I was afraid that I wasn't going to get pole today because it's open qualifying. So usually with that, it's a lottery, and I'd rather take my chances in a 2-lap qualified and open, but it works both ways. So today it was my turn to get pole. But I have to say, I need to congratulate Bill. He's a worthy champion. He did a great job. I'd also like to congratulate Jack Hobbs. He mounted a fantastic season. I think he's going to be a future champion as well. And then Simon Edwards, my other a competitor for the title. I know he's been plagued with equipment issues throughout today as well as other times. So he's mounted also a fantastic season. But it just wasn't enough for me. I had 2 races which I missed because I was away. And if you remember, I think the points at which I might have lost the season, I don't know the points differential, but at Lime Rock on the season opener, when I was about to win on the last corner, I got taken out by a couple of cars having a scuffle on the last bend. So it'll be painful if that's the points differential that made me lose the championship. But as far as the race, what I tried to do today was get as far ahead as I could. But then in the last couple of laps, I thought probably best if I slow down and let the guys behind me catch up. Because I thought if I let them catch up close enough where they think they might have a chance of a win, somebody might make a mistake and Bill might fall off and end up in a gravel, at which point that's the kind of differential I would have needed. But alas, they all kept it together, and win was the best I could do, but second in the championship is a good result, and I'm very happy with that.
Certainly is, and you've definitely become very comfortable with your new team, of course, Thrustmaster Movano. Has that helped you this season?
Absolutely, it has. You know, it's motivated me, and I've talked to some of the other guys. There are some pro drivers in there who have some fascinating things to say about car control and strategy. And I don't know if you saw, but I did the 12 hours at the Glen on Saturday, and that really was great training for today, because what it taught you was to focus on long stints, as if every lap is a qualifying lap, and I wouldn't have been able to do that without a team involved. So I'd really like to thank Thrustmaster Movano for having me on board this season.
One last thing I'll ask you before we move on quite quickly is that you did seem to slow down at the end there, coming into the last couple of laps. What was that about?
Well, I was trying to lure the guys behind me to get closer, because I thought if they think they might have a chance, if they thought I had a problem and they thought they could catch me and win, then in the kind of a scuffle, because I know Simon wanted to win to have any chance. So I figured if Simon's behind me and he's fighting with Ben Daniels and Bill Fraser, they might just, in the excitement of trying to catch me, take each other out. So it was really I was trying to lay down a trap, but they didn't go for it.
Seems like a weird place to lay a trap when you're winning successfully, but we'll go with that. Thanks for joining us, Fahim. We'll have a quick chat to Barry West next up. Barry, it was a busy race for you.
It was very busy. It was hectic. It was a zoo out there. I mean, one small error and car would be passed. It was, yeah, we had a good fun. And then unfortunately at the end, I was trying to hold Kip off at the end, and I missed the gear, drifted wide, and then we off. The last bend we just came proper. But yeah, it was a good race, a fun race to come back. I haven't been racing for about 3 weeks, though. Yeah, I need to get focused for next season now.
Certainly was. Well, thanks for joining us, Barry. We'll have a quick chat to Paul Thurston next up, of course. Paul, a track you rather like, and a good start in 11th, but some contact meant you had to try and recover back.
Yeah, I was a bit unlucky there.
Oh my gosh.
Is that me or you?
We're talking to Paul Thurston live from a cave in the mountains.
How's that?
A lot better. You don't sound anywhere near as like you're on a 1940s telephone.
I can get a 1920s telephone if it would help. Yeah, I was quite pleased generally with the way it was going, but then they're coming together with Rob. Essentially, I was getting bullied, dropping down the field, and then it went side by side, I think, round Sheen, with Rob, and it didn't come out well. At one point, I think after then, I was 4 wide coming into the one before Sheen, which I never remember the name of, and there was some bizarre racing going on there. People were just throwing their cars in. I'm not used to being back there these days. See, back there in 17th. But I was pleased to actually work my way back to 17th, because that means that I've scored points in every single round this year, with the season, which is I think probably the first time ever. I improved my score for the season, because that beat my previous worst score. But so I'm pleased with that. It was a good solid drive. I had a good little battle with a few of the people there. But that wouldn't put a damper on it. I mean, I was raising for me mum there, because me mum's been ill and she actually died on Friday. She's 93, and she had a good life and everything. So it was just she was ready to go. But that one's for mum.
Well, thank you, Paul, and condolences from all of us at RaceSpotTV to your mother and the rest of your family.
Yeah, so as I say, I mean, she was ready to go. It's fine. 93 is a good age, but I always try to do my best for my mum and my dad, because they always followed my racing, and like to know how I did. And I'll be quite pleased with that one, actually, because I was quite proud of the way I came back with a damaged car there.
Yeah, you certainly did. Well, congratulations to you, and thanks for joining us, Paul. Last up, we have got a chance to chat to Michael Jones before we head off tonight. And Michael started 40th, came through to 25th today. Quite a big run.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with myself tonight. I don't know what happened either. Just managed to avoid quite a few wrecks and just kept it on it, kept lap times consistent, and come 25th at the end.
You certainly did. Well, congratulations to you, and a great run there. So, folks, that's everything we've had tonight, and this is the end, of course, of the season. We'll be back again in 2 weeks' time here on RaceSpotTV. Thank you so much for joining us and being on the journey here with us tonight and all season long. I've been Rachel Whiteford. I've been joined by Linus Brostrom, and as always, Paul Vincent working those dials behind the screen. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.
Yeah.